If you've got your sights set on Canada, then you're going to want to circle January 2026 on your calendar. Some pretty big changes are on the way for Canadian immigration policy, and today we're going to break down the 3 most important updates for you, based on expert analysis from Corus Immigration Services. So, let's get right into it.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with the big picture of how Canada's policies are shifting. Then we'll dive into each of the 3 key updates. We've got the new powers under something called Bill C-12, a freeze on the post-graduation work permit, and a brand new focus on Francophone immigration. And finally, we'll tie it all together and talk about what this actually means for you.
All right, first up, let's zoom out a bit and look at the broader context here. You see, these aren't just random, isolated changes. They're all part of a much larger shift in Canada's whole approach to immigration. Let's unpack what's really going on.
This really sets the stage perfectly. We're not just looking at a couple of new rules. We're looking at the strategy behind them. The Canadian government is trying to become more flexible, to react faster to the country's economic needs, and honestly, to manage the huge volume of applications they get. Our job today is to figure out what that strategy looks like in the real world.
So that brings us to our very first major update, Bill C-12. This one is a really fundamental change. It gives the government some new powers, but, and this is important, it also puts some crucial safeguards in place.
This infographic gives us a fantastic, at-a-glance look at Bill C-12. The best way to think about it is like 2 sides of the same coin. On one side, the government gets new tools to manage the flow of immigration applications. But on the other side, there are new rules and oversight they have to follow to make sure everything's fair. Let's get into those details.
So, you might be wondering, who does this actually affect? Well, the short answer is pretty much everyone. The scope here is incredibly broad. It touches everything from temporary visas and study permits all the way to permanent residence applications. So yeah, if you're applying to come to Canada in basically any capacity, this new law is probably going to affect your process.
And here is that balance we were just talking about, laid out plain and simple. On the left, you've got the new powers for the government. They can now halt or even suspend groups of applications, and they can change the conditions for temporary residents who are already here in Canada. But look at the right side. Here are the safeguards. Any action they take has to be in the public interest, and they have to be transparent about it by reporting their actions to Parliament. It's a trade-off, really. More flexibility for the system, but with more accountability built right in.
Now that term, public interest, is the real key to this whole thing. So what does it actually mean? Well, it's not just any old reason. The government has to give a specific justification. Things like cracking down on fraud, fixing big administrative mistakes, or protecting public health and national security. This definition is basically the main check on those new government powers. Okay, let's switch gears to our second major update, the PGWP freeze. Now, if you're an international student in Canada, or you're even thinking about becoming one, you'll want to pay very close attention to this next part. So here's the headline news for all you international students. For the entire year of 2026, the eligibility list for the Postgraduate Work Permit, or PGWP, is frozen. So what does frozen mean? It means no new programs will be added to the list, and just as importantly, none will be taken off for the whole year. The idea here is to give students some certainty and stability when they're choosing what to study.
And that stability is a pretty big deal. We're talking about 1,107 different programs. By freezing this list, the government is essentially giving students a guarantee. If you enroll in one of these specific programs in 2026, you can be confident that it will be eligible for a post-graduation work permit when you finish.
So what kind of fields is Canada prioritizing with this list? Well, as you can see, the focus is clearly on sectors that are absolutely critical to Canada's economy and society. We're talking healthcare, the skilled trades, STEM fields, agriculture, and education. This is a huge signal about where the country sees its biggest needs right now.
Now, this next part is a really crucial clarification. This freeze mainly affects students who are in non-degree programs, so think diplomas and certificates. If you are graduating from a bachelor's, a master's, or a doctoral program, you are exempt from this. That is a very, very important distinction to keep in mind.
All right, on to our third and final update, and believe me, it's a big one, the Francophone focus. This is a major new push to bring more French-speaking immigrants to all parts of Canada. What we're seeing here is a very deliberate, long-term strategy. The goal is to significantly ramp up the number of French-speaking permanent residents who settle in provinces and territories outside of Quebec. This is all about strengthening those Francophone communities that exist all across the country. And they are absolutely backing this strategy with some serious numbers. A massive 5,000 new spots for permanent residents are being added just for French-speaking newcomers. This creates a really clear, tangible advantage for any candidate with French language skills, especially if you're applying through one of the provincial nominating programs.
And, this isn't a move that's coming out of nowhere. It's actually building on past success. The government had a target of 8.5% for French-speaking PR admissions outside of Quebec for 2025, and they didn't just meet it, they surpassed it, hitting 8.9%. So this new initiative is basically them doubling down on a strategy that's already proven to work. This bar chart does a great job of showing the long-term vision. This isn't just a one-off thing for 2026. The target for Francophone immigration outside Quebec is set to climb steadily year after year. It goes from 9% in 26, up to 10.5% in 2028, and all the way up to 12% by 2029. This shows a really sustained multi-year commitment.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. We've talked about Bill C-12, the PGWP freeze, and the new Francophone focus. So let's pull it all together in this final section and talk about, what this all means for you.
So, if you're going to remember 3 things from all these January 2026 updates, what should they be? First, flexibility. Bill C-12 gives the government more power to manage the whole system in real time. Second, certainty. The PGW freeze gives much-needed clarity and stability to international students in non-degree programs, especially in those key sectors. And third, opportunity. There is a huge new advantage on the table for French-speaking candidates who want to settle outside Quebec. Those 3 words, flexibility, certainty, and opportunity, really sum up the new landscape.
And that really brings us to our final and most critical question. When you connect all these dots, more government control over who can apply, a sharp focus on specific sectors of the economy, and a strong priority for a specific language, it becomes pretty clear that Canada is actively redefining who it wants to welcome. So the question we're all left with is, what does this new vision of a Canadian immigrant look like? And how is it going to keep changing in the years to come?
Please like this video and subscribe this channel to get up-to-date information about Canadian immigration. If you need any help in applying for a Canadian visa and want to explore different options, send us email or contact us on the numbers provided in the description. Please feel free to send your question and schedule your online consultation with our experts. Once again, Corus Immigration Services wish you all the best and really hope to see you in Canada soon.